and it's very applicable for any organization which has a customer service department, right? Because they are customer service department is the one which sort of interacts with the customers, right? So they have that one-to-one relation, and if you take all these interactions and when we talk about ratings, right? I mean, a person might have like given a 3-star, but if you actually read the review, there is a wealth of information. I mean, the person might have given 3-star because the packet was delayed, but actually the product itself was really good, and the person liked the product. And so these kind of analytics and judgment can be done by machines today. Just reading the text of the review, and it can actually give you more detailed information about what is it actually that the person or the customer didn't like, and what is it that the customer liked. And so there is huge opportunity, and I think it's already being done today. And yeah.
One thing that came to my mind when you guys were talking about emotions and machines was a research that has been done in the U.S. about children with autism. That how they are using machines so that the kid can express itself. Even for schizophrenia, they're using these kind of machines so these kids can express themselves. So I think one area that these kind of interactions can be helpful is the the healthcare, the health a topic. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
I'll just tell you one example I heard, and that's one company in Japan who has done in connection with their artificial intelligence, department of one university. So they have created an app which sits in your mobile, and it has a freedom to read, all sorts of information. So it's of course up to the customer whether they want to allow. It even listens that at what tone you are talking, to whom you are talking, how long you are talking. And when you switch that app on, when you come back home, it actually gives you recommendation of 3 movies, which matches with your emotion at that point of time, which will actually make you feel good. And they have found 79% cases which actually goes accurate. So, yes, I mean, and of course, with your example, yes, people are already working on it.
Fantastic. I don't think this discussion can end because it's an extremely, extremely interesting topic. And Ms. Ujjaini, of course, has added even more to it with the kind of questions that she's raised to the panel. I could see the expressions, most of the questions were very tricky and quote-unquote debatable, but the discussion went really well. Thank you so much. I see there are a few more questions, but we need to stay within timelines, so we can probably catch up with the panel members in the next break. Would that be fine? I appreciate that. So talking of emotions, since I also have one bit to add to that, especially customer service. There are times when I'm struggling with credit card issues, and I'm sure we all have experienced that at one point or the other. And you're talking to this customer care executive, and he's supposed to take care of you because you are the customer. So the only line that they are told to repeat is, "I apologize for the inconvenience caused. I apologize for the inconvenience caused." And you repeatedly keep telling them, "But can you just understand the issue?" "Yes, ma'am, I apologize for the inconvenience caused to you." "Yeah, but have you even understood?" "I apologize for the inconvenience caused." And I wonder if I'm talking to a machine with no emotions or a person who can really understand my issue and feel a little apologetic. So emotions is always a debatable thing, whether it's humans or machines. And on that note, please take your seat, panel members. Thank you very much for a rather fantastic discussion. Moving on to our next speaker, who will tell us all there is to know about use of analytics in fraud risk management. May I please welcome Mr. Sundar Krishnan, Chief Risk Officer, Reliance Nippon Life Insurance. Let's have a huge round.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks a lot to the organizers. I think it's a very wonderful theme, and that's theme thing now in most enterprises where we have large or small BI teams, business intelligence and data analytics. And in some cases, I believe we have 1,000 analytic professionals in some of the companies, multinational companies. So large teams. And certainly using data makes a lot of sense. And adds immense value to the enterprise. So I thought I'll give you my own case study. In fact, so you didn't finish the title. It is supposed to be use of analytics for fraud risk management, case study. So I'm actually sharing my experience in Reliance Nippon Life Insurance. And so I'll make it very, very practical so that it's completely what I went through or what my journey was. So I joined this company 10 years back, 11 years back in the formative years. I set up risk management function, legal compliance, secretarial, and fraud and investigation wing, and various other functions. So I was in the startup team. We had actually taken over our existing company and then setting it up again from scratch because of the vision or mission that we had in terms of the scale that we wanted to achieve. So that's it. How do I go to the next slide? Here? Thanks. This work. Before we go to fraud risk management, I just give you the backdrop and how much time I have? Otherwise I can go on forever. So 25 minutes, thanks. So I've kept my watch here. I don't want to stand between you and the lunch also. So as I was narrating you to my case study, so when we had set up all these functions and 2-3 years, it was a euphoric growth, and that was a growth period, 2006 to 8. 2000 to 2006, 7, 8 was a very, very sunrise industry for insurance, especially life insurance, and the growth was humongous. And then, of course, the subprime fiasco in the US and in various parts of the world sort of created a dent in the financial services world, shook customer confidence. So the private companies which came into the industry at 2000 actually adopted a product called ULIP, linked product. And insurance was a flavor there, of course. You have to for regulatory reasons. But the more importance was on the capital market. And then, of course, the market shook, customer confidence shook, and there were a lot of complaints, mis-selling complaints, because understandably you promise some very good returns and then what you get is lesser than what you would have been promised. And so what happened was then the whole industry sort of changing, and then the business went down and a lot of regulations swamped us. The margins were cut, agents left the market, and things changed. So the company started focusing their attention on bottom line. How do you save cost? Where are the leakages? Otherwise it was like euphoric growth before that. 900%, 300%, 80% growth. That was the kind of growth we were looking at. Somewhere during that time, our CEO left and I was handling various functions. The claims also landed on my desk. Claims investigations is a part of claims. And so they said, since you handle investigations anyway and risk investigations across, wouldn't you also take up the claims function? So I said, okay, that's fine, because natural extension, although from a segregation perspective it creates issues, but we had modular teams under me. So every single claim that's repudiated used to come in my handheld device for me to check whether is it okay to repudiate or not okay to repudiate. Why? Because we are in the business of paying claims. Therefore, it's a deep reputation impact if you have to cancel or repudiate claims. And so I was seeing dead man insurance, then I was seeing person who's alive or somewhere else and claiming dead. Then I see cases of terminal illness being insured, as of my guys who were standing outside the hospital and giving the policies. All kinds of frauds. So we saw lots of humongous frauds, and of course, to repudiate, I need to have evidence. I used to insist on case summary from the hospital for every single non-disclosure of a disease, which means active concealment of the fact. Of course, many times you have to take liberal view. If there is no evidence or you know there is a fraud, in 2 months, 3 months, if you get a claim, it's more or less certain that there is something doubtful, something gone wrong. So you do a root cause analysis, why, then you find out what goes wrong. We'll have to still pay the claim. So we used to pay the claims many times because of the business we are in, the nature and size of the claim, absence of evidence, or a combination of all these. And so when I used to see the pattern, just go back. So when I used to see the pattern, I saw intuitively from my experience perspective, there is a pattern in this. The locations that we operate, some 220 odd locations in the country, Ongole, Warangal, Paliwal, Ganjam, Jamnagar, then Jalandhar, then Bhavnagar, Kubernagar, Charnagar. So, I can tell you those by tips, 200, 220 odd locations across the industry. I'm not saying something unique to Reliance out here. So, these were the trends, early trends. And then I saw a pattern also in age above 45. I saw a pattern in the occupation, self-occupied. I used to get photographs, of course, from my investigators. So they say dealer in shoes. But then finally I came to know it was a drunkard cobbler whose photograph also shows the bones actually in the chest. And that bad a condition. I don't know how the hell he was insured for 5 lakhs. Then of course the size of the insurance, term, the nature of the product, age. So all these factors, I saw a pattern intuitively. Of course, since I repudiated every single claim that we operate, and mind you, it's not a small company then, now we've become smaller, but we were in the top 5 at that time. So I saw a pattern and then picked up intuitively, so that what is this happening actually? We're getting a claim, we're then disappointing some probably innocent people also out there who have been cheated by the sales guys. Saying this is not the right thing to do. Let's go after the fraudsters instead of waiting a sitting duck. Think something out of the box. Of course, you cannot cancel a policy after it's insured. How the hell are you doing, Sundar? This is something ridiculous. I've unheard of this. I said, what? It's a fraud, and your house is burning, and then you're sitting quiet. No way. And then since I was a legal guy also, so policy document, every single wording used to go through me. And I knew that there was words in the event of a fraudulent declaration by the customer. You have a right to forfeit the policy, you cancel the policy and forfeit the premium. So I said, there is a clause there. You have a look. And I'm going ahead. And of course, tremendous opposition within the company, forget outside the company. And then the sales force, of course, would say, how can you do this when my customer will not be able to sell the policy? We will start cancelling policies. And so you have lots of objection handling to do. Regulatory, compliance, sales, operational, and the TATs for business excellence. So all these objections were handled, and then I started cancelling. Just imagine, the money I used to spend was 65 lakhs in claims for investigations. And I saved about 40 crores straight first year, 40 crores. Just data, intuitive handling, experience, no use of analytics, nothing. Second year, of course, by then the people have seen the results, the objections came down, the CEO started supporting me. Of course, all this requires team effort. It's not one-man show. Everything is collaboration today. Somebody has to support you. The CEO was very supportive. Second year, 50 crore savings, 65 lakhs investigations. We've spent about 5,000 to 6,000 rupees per claim investigation. And non-claim investigation, like want to check age proof, school certificate, we spend about 250 to 300 rupees. Now, if I were to investigate every single claim, I will go bankrupt because that's not possible. And of course, the customer satisfaction, the settlement ratio. We also have a claim settlement ratio where you have to show how much claims you settle for every single claim you get. Whereas in my case, I'm going after them immediately after the policy is issued or 2 months later to find the fraudsters. What you can say is a surgical strike. The surgical strike would come later. And then I said, let me use the BI in this, business intelligence in this. So I contacted the business intelligence team. So I didn't invest a single more paise. The team was already there. They were working on channel analytics. They were working on persistency analytics using SAS. So I said, this is what I'm getting, 2 years, 1.5 years. Let's feed this in SAS and see how it works. And they did. We tried the data 4, 5 months, 6 months. And then even more, that was surgical strike. So I got even more better results than what it is. So today, third year more 60 crores, fourth year 70 crores, same amount of money spent. So that's what so now it becomes a season sort of data analytics. And they work on the data, they give me the propensity scores, and then we go ahead and then give it to the investigators. Of course, we are also feeding this into the auto underwriting engine of underwriting team to prevent such cases coming in. At the end of the day,